She wanted to give me the college experience, and she gave me the best experience. Holy poop, you came, she said in an excited whisper. Did you see me? I actually got in. I began to respond, but she cut me off. Listen, I've got to get to the locker room. See the redhead over there in the gray jacket? That's my roommate Mary, she can let you into the dorm. She was gone before I could say goodbye. I walked up to Mary and introduced myself. Mary was extremely short, 5 feet tall at the most, and an absolute beach. So you're him? Okay, well hurry up, I'm freezing and want to get home. I tried to make casual conversation with her as we made the short walk back to the dorm, but Mary wasn't much of a conversationalist. She let me into their dorm, looked at me only to say leave my poop alone, and walked back out. A little taken aback, I awkwardly made myself at home until Emily got back. After what seemed like an eternity, Emily walked through the door, hair still damp from her post-game shower and wearing a sweatshirt and sweatpants. You made it over all right then? Yeah, but I don't think Mary is a huge fan of mine, I said with a chuckle. Oh, don't worry about her, she's not a fan of anyone. We'll just try to avoid her for the weekend. Want a drink? She reached for the fridge and took out a bottle of green apple flavored vodka that future me would gag at the sight of. She pulled shot glasses out of the freezer, handed me one and topped them off. Cheers to a hell of a weekend, Emily said with a devilish grin on her face as we clink our glasses together. We downed them and repeated the ritual a couple more times before getting ready for the party. What are those? Emily asked as I pulled clothes out of my bag. Jeans and a flannel? Why? Oh I forgot to tell you tonight is a themed party. It's a beach party. Emily, it's effing November and I'm pretty sure it's gonna snow. She pulled off her sweatshirt, revealing a white sports bra underneath. She walked over to the fridge again and pulled out fireball shooters and tossed them to me. To keep you warm, she said with a wink as she shed her sweatpants. I lost all interest in the alcohol, watching Emily rifle through her closet in her sports bra and a thong. I was completely mesmerized by her body, cheeks jiggling slightly when she reached for something on the top shelf, cheeks spreading as she bent over to look for the right pair of shoes. She turned and saw me in a trance, giggling at the look of joy on my face. What do you think, red bikini or black? I'm obviously gonna need to see them to make an accurate judgment. Emily walked up to me with her bikinis in one hand and placed the other on my chest. She raised up to her tiptoes and whispered in my ear, as you wish, and gave me a shove. I fell backwards onto the couch and Emily stood directly in front of me. Her fingers laced under her sports bra and slowly pulled it off over her head, her TTS rising with the bra and bouncing back into place once released. She gave them a little massage before turning around and sticking her SS in my face. She slowly bent over and looped her thumbs around the waistband, dragging them down. I could see a hint of her wimp and I placed my hands on her hips, leaning my face forward. Emily stood up quickly and turned around to face me. She had a wicked grin on her face and told me to lean back against the couch. I obeyed and watched her step in between my knees. She placed both hands on either side of my head and leaned forward, her perky TTS hanging inches from my face. Oh no, not yet baby. See, I wanted to F you months ago, but you never made a move. So now we're on my time. I lifted my head a little bit, tongue dancing behind my lips, desperate to take a nipple in my mouth. She pushed me back again and began tying on the red bikini. She modeled it for me, shaking her SS and pushing her TTS together, before sitting on my lap and taking it off. This time, I grabbed her SS and pulled her close so she could feel my hard PP, desperate to break free of my jeans. She grinded her hips a couple times against my crotch before kissing my jawline and standing up again to try on the black bikini. My jaw literally dropped when she gave me a twirl in the black, so she giggled and said this is the one. Now we need to get you dressed. Go knock next door and see if he can help with some shorts, he's a friend. I clumsily hid my erection and went next door. After explaining who I was, this kind stranger lent me a pair of swim trunks and a tank top and sent me on my way. When I got back to Emily's room, she had 2 more shots each lined up. You get these after you change. Then we're out of here. As I started to drop my pants, Emily sat down on the couch and spread her legs wide. She eyed the outline of my PP and my briefs hungrily and began to rub her wimp over her bikini bottoms. I took a couple steps closer to her and she reached out with her free hand to finish undressing me. My PP sprang free and Emily began to rub faster. I took another step closer to her and she spit in her hand and rubbed it the length of my PP. I let out a groan and reached for her TTS before she withdrew her hand and said drink up. I glared at her as I pulled on my trunks. We downed the drinks and made our way to the door. Just before she could reach for the handle, I grabbed her arm and spun her around. I pinned her arm above her head and pressed my body against hers until she was backed up against the door. We breathed into each other's mouths for a moment, staring into each other's eyes, before I leaned in and kissed her. She kissed me back hard and wrapped her free hand around my neck. I let go of her arm and grabbed her SS with both hands, picking her up and holding her against the door, our tongues dancing against each other. Just as Emily let out a soft moan, the door rattled behind her. I let go of Emily and took a step back. She breathed heavily, looking at me with pure lust. She took a step towards me but was interrupted by the door opening behind her. Mary stood there, looking at us with disdain. You're gonna freeze was all she said before getting into her bed and putting headphones in. Emily grabbed my hand and pulled me out of the room. We ran a couple blocks to the party, trying not to slip in the cold drizzle. When we got to the house party, we could hear a steady bass coming inside. We made our way in the back door and were quickly ushered down into the sweaty basement. When we stepped off the final stair, our feet were met with a layer of sand. The music was loud enough where no conversation could be had, but I read Emily's lips and she said something about the hosts going all out. She pulled me through the crowd to find a keg that was mostly foam before pulling me in front of the large speakers pumping bass you could feel throughout your body. Emily turned around and backed her SS into my crotch, grinding against me like everyone around us. I wrapped my hands around her waist and kissed the side of her neck. I could feel the vibrations in her throat from her moan even though I couldn't hear it, and she turned her head to meet my lips with hers. We made out and danced and drank for what felt like hours. I slipped my hands inside her bikini top and played with her nipples, which she would respond to by sliding her hand down the front of my shorts and slowly stroking my pee-pee. Before long, we began practically undressing each other in that basement before remembering where we were. We ran out of the house, laughing and kissing and holding each other.